GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. Tonight we'll break down the sudden closure of two private colleges that left nearly 900 foreign students in limbo and look at the new $70.8 million youth mental health funding from Ottawa. Traffic's easing on Highway 13, but the Honoré Mercier Bridge remains reduced. Over to you, Emma.
Tonight at Parc Jean Drapeau, the Nuits d'Afrique double bill presents El Interloop, Queen Omega and the Royal Souls, celebrating African rhythms and local talent.
Tickets cost $40 for general admission, with a $30 youth discount, and can be purchased online or at the venue box office starting tomorrow.
The concert begins at 8 o'clock, doors open at 7, and the outdoor stage will feature a traditional drum circle before the main performances.
Our studio is ready, the lights are set, and the broadcast will roll in a moment. Lots to get to, let's begin. Good evening, Montreal. The Quebec Ministry of Education announced today that it would not renew the operating permits for Collège Supérieur de Montréal and Collège Supérieur de Shai Arbrook. Both institutions closed their doors today, halting all classes and leaving 878 foreign students without a place to continue their studies. The ministry said the permits, which require periodic renewal, were denied after a review. Students now face uncertainty regarding their academic progress and immigration status. The abrupt closure also jeopardizes the students' visa timelines, as many had secured permits tied to their enrollment at the colleges. Provincial officials confirmed that the decision applies only to the two private colleges, not to public institutions. Families and representatives of the affected learners have been urged to seek alternative programs, while the ministry indicated it will work with other schools to accommodate displaced enrollments where possible.
The federal government in Ottawa is allocating $70.8 million Canadian dollars to the province of Quebec under the Youth Mental Health Fund. The 5-year transfer, spanning 2026 through 2031, will support a range of youth mental health services. Funding will enable the creation of 4 new open-air treatment sites and a mobile unit that can travel to remote communities. Officials say the investment aims to expand access to care for young people across the province and to strengthen preventive programs. It also funds training for school counselors and a digital outreach platform to reach teens online. Quebec health authorities will coordinate the rollout with local partners, integrating the new facilities into existing networks. The initiative forms part of a broader national effort to improve mental health outcomes for youth, with the federal-provincial partnership continuing throughout the funding period.
The City of Montreal, the Province of Quebec, and the federal government in Ottawa have jointly announced a $27 million grant for the Biosphere Museum. The funding unveiled today will be allocated over a shorter timeframe than previous contributions, aiming to accelerate upgrades and new programming inside the iconic geodesic dome on Isle Saint-Henri. Officials said the money will support climate education exhibits, energy efficiency improvements, and expanded community outreach. Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada highlighted the Biosphere's role as a landmark for sustainable learning, while Quebec's Premier Christine Fréchette emphasized provincial commitment to environmental innovation. Ottawa's Minister of Heritage confirmed the federal share lines with national priorities for cultural institutions. The combined grant is set to flow to the museum in the coming months, positioning the Biosphere for a revitalized future.
Drivers heading to Montreal Trudeau Airport are confronting a severe bottleneck on the last 1.5 kilometers of the approach road. Officials confirm the jam has stretched to as much as 40 minutes, turning what should be a brief final push into a prolonged wait. The congestion began early this morning and remains unabated, with traffic slowing to crawl as motorists inch toward the terminal. SDM and provincial highway monitors have issued alerts urging travelers to allow extra time and consider alternate routes where possible. The blockage appears isolated to the airport access corridor, with no reports of incidents further back on the highway network. Some drivers say the line backs up to the junction with Autoroute 15, adding further frustration for those on time-sensitive flights. As the situation persists, authorities continue to assess the cause and work toward clearing the delay.
Police say a high-speed pursuit of 3 fugitives on the highway that connects Terrebonne to Montreal was called off this afternoon. Officers initiated the chase after receiving a report of a vehicle traveling at unsafe speeds near the junction of Autoroute 45. The pursuit continued for several kilometers before dispatch ordered a termination, citing safety concerns for other motorists. All three individuals remain at large, and a coordinated search effort is underway along the route. The police department has not released further details about the suspects or the underlying investigation. Drivers who witnessed the incident were instructed to avoid the area while officers conduct follow-up checks. No injuries or vehicle collisions were reported during the aborted chase. The chase began near exit 27 on Autoroute 45, a major commuter corridor, and police said ending it was necessary for public safety. Stay tuned as we explore how the 1976 Olympics still shape our city half a century on. Plus more, we will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's turn our focus to the stories shaping our neighborhoods, and now Emma Leclerc will guide us through today's local highlights.
Olympic officials say the 1976 Games still shape Quebec's sporting life half a century on. They note that the event sparked a surge in community clubs, youth programs, and facility upgrades that continue to feed local athletes. While the original Games were remembered for the soaring budget and the controversial stadium, officials stress that the legacy lies in the way Quebec embraced sport after the event. The influx of international competition inspired new coaching standards and increased participation across disciplines, from swimming to track. Today, many of the city's training centers trace their origins to initiatives launched in the wake of the Olympics. The officials' assessment underscores how a single global event can leave a lasting cultural imprint, far beyond the headlines of its construction costs. Those programs now support thousands of young athletes each year, reinforcing the city's reputation as a hub for elite training.
The province is moving to tighten controls on the chemicals that escape from its waste dumps. Officials from the Ministry of the Environment said they are drafting limits on the release of persistent contaminants, substances that linger in soil and water long after landfill leachate spreads. The measure aims to curb the steady stream of pollution that has raised concern among scientists and local groups monitoring water quality. If adopted, the rules would require landfill operators to implement additional barriers and monitoring systems to keep these long-lasting pollutants from entering surrounding ecosystems. The government says the step is part of a broader strategy to protect natural resources and public health, responding to mounting evidence that current practices allow harmful substances to accumulate over time. A public consultation on the proposal is slated for the coming weeks.
Quebec's Health Ministry announced a $2 million investment to launch a doctoral program in family medicine and primary care at the University of Quebec Network. The funding, announced by Health Minister Christine Frechette, is set to begin this week and will support research and training slots aimed at increasing the number of family physicians throughout the province's regions. The program will bring together medical schools and community clinics, giving students hands-on experience in both urban and rural settings. For local families, the initiative promises more doctors trained to address everyday health needs, potentially easing wait times at neighborhood clinics. Officials say the grant will also fund scholarships and new faculty positions, strengthening the province's capacity to retain physicians after graduation. The rollout is scheduled to start later this month. The province hopes the initiative will also inspire future students to consider careers in primary care.
Today, Quebec's Cabinet Minister François Bonnardel will tell constituents that he plans to step away from politics after the next provincial election. The CAQ representative for Granby will say he will not seek re-election, but will continue serving as the member of the National Assembly until his current term concludes. Bonnardel, who has held the Granby seat for several terms and currently oversees the Ministry of Transport, said his decision comes after a decade of public service. He will stress that the transition will allow new voices to emerge in the riding while maintaining continuity for ongoing projects. Party officials will note that the CAQ will begin looking for a successor to contest the upcoming vote. Residents can expect the announcement to be delivered at a press conference in Granby later this morning.
The region will face an intense heat wave tomorrow as temperatures climb to 34 degrees Celsius, with a heat index that feels like 45 degrees. Meteorologists say the lingering high-pressure system over southern Quebec is driving the sharp rise, marking the strongest readings of the season. Residents can expect outdoor conditions to become hazardous, especially during midday hours when the combined temperature and humidity peak. Power demand is likely to spike as air conditioning units run continuously, and health services warn that prolonged exposure may increase cases of heat-related illness. Schools and workplaces that rely on outdoor activities may need to adjust schedules, while commuters should anticipate heavier traffic as drivers seek shade along congested routes. Authorities continue to monitor the situation and will issue updates if conditions worsen. Water consumption is expected to rise as households increase cooling efforts.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what tonight's temperatures have in store.
Falling pressure and a brisk northwest jet are thickening clouds while holding temperatures steady over the city tonight. On this date, the all-time high reached 33.7 degrees in 2016, a blistering spike that broke a regional heat wave stretching across southern Quebec. The record low, 14.1 degrees set in 2017, fell during an unusually early cold snap linked to a polar air mass that slipped south behind a stalled front. By contrast, the mid-July climate normals sit near 26 degrees for the high and 18 degrees for the low, making today's 26-degree overcast feel modest. The live radar shows a clean swath of reflectivity across the province, with no echoes over the metropolitan area. A weak shortwave riding the northwest jet stream sits east of the St. Lawrence, but the flow aloft is steering any moisture northward, keeping Montreal dry. With falling pressure, the next system will arrive after midnight, so the current clear picture will hold until late night. Turning now to tonight's outlook. At 6 p.m. Montreal sits under a thick overcast with a temperature of 26 degrees, humidity 35%, and a southwest wind at 18 kilometers per hour gusting to 31. The dew point of 9 degrees keeps the air dry, visibility 16 kilometers. Pressure is near average but falling, signaling an unsettled system that will push in after midnight. The jet stream overhead streams at 85 kilometers per hour from the northwest, injecting cooler air aloft. UV index stays at 6 for the brief twilight. Winds remain below 25 kilometers per hour for the evening, then drop as clouds clear. No weather alerts are active. By 7 p.m., the sky clears, temperatures fall to 20 degrees around midnight, and a quiet night follows before the next front arrives. Looking ahead, Tuesday will break into a hot spell with a high of 34 degrees and a low of 19, but a 25% chance of rain adds a slight chill to the otherwise sweltering day. Wednesday rebounds to a clear sky, offering a high of 30 degrees and a low of 18, perfect for evening activities. Thursday brings another clear stretch with a high of 28 degrees and a low of 16, though a 25% rain probability keeps a watchful eye on the afternoon. Friday settles at a comfortable 26 high and 16 low under clear conditions. Saturday rounds the week with a mild 28 high and 17 low, all under a clear sky. The pattern shifts from a brief heat surge to a cooler, drier stretch by midweek. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic still snarled on Highway 13 in the Honoré-Mercier Bridge. The Roses just edged the tides, plus BIXI's Dorval expansion. We will be right back.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Highway 13 remains the biggest holdup this afternoon. Reconstruction work forces lane reconfigurations and speed reductions, creating moderate delays through the La Vieille-Montreal corridor. Drivers should expect backups near the Décarie exit and plan extra 5 to 10 minutes. The Honoré-Mercier Bridge is also running at reduced capacity with only one lane open in each direction, so traffic is slower across the river, especially near the Longueuil St. Lambert approach. If you're heading downtown, the main arteries of Saint-Arbrook and René-Lévesque are moving freely, so you can use those routes as alternatives. Autoroute 15 is flowing smoothly and Boulevard St. Laurent shows no congestion at this time. On the transit side, the SDM has instituted a mandatory mask-wearing policy on all buses and metro lines effective today. No service interruptions are reported, but riders should have a mask ready to avoid boarding delays. That's the current picture for Montreal's roads and transit.
Montreal is buzzing with the Pan American Canoe Sprint and Paracano Championships at the Olympic Basin on Parc Jean-Drapeau, marking the 50th anniversary of the 1976 venue. World-class athletes are racing on the same waters that once hosted Olympic glory, and the excitement is palpable for anyone who loves sport. Tonight the MTELUS stage lights up for Nuits d'Afrique, a double bill featuring El Interloop, Queen Omega and the Royal Souls, delivering a night of Afro-Caribbean rhythms that capture the city's summer spirit. If you're looking for something ongoing, Soul Fest Montreal continues at the Parvis of St. James United Church, offering 4 days of soul, Motown, funk, gospel and disco for families and music lovers alike. And keep an eye on Thursday when Louis Tomlinson joins the Aces at the Bell Center, a major pop showdown you won't want to miss. And now here's Jason with sports.
Here's the latest on Montreal's soccer surge and hockey moves. Sunday's Northern Super League clash saw the Montreal Roses edge the Halifax Tides by a solitary goal. Substitute Chloe Minas converted a penalty in the 77th minute, securing a 1-0 victory for the home side. The win keeps the Roses competitive in league play. The Montreal Roses announced Wednesday they have added 2 internationally experienced forwards, Marie-Yasmine Aladou and Yves Perisset. Both players bring high-profile pedigree to the squad, bolstering the club's attacking options as the Northern Super League enters its second season. An international sports firm has injected $30 million into the Northern Super League, the Canadian women's professional soccer competition now in its second season. The capital boost supports the 6-team league, Vancouver, Calgary, Halifax, Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa, aiming to grow the sport nationwide. On June 29, the Montreal Canadiens dealt forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations. The move shifts Gallagher's scoring presence to Vancouver, while Montreal looks to adjust its roster ahead of the upcoming NHL campaign. The Montreal Canadiens have dealt veteran forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations. Management noted the move reflects roster adjustments, while Vancouver looks to add Gallagher's experience as they shape their lineup for the coming campaign.
BIXI in Dorval is rolling out its newest chapter with 6 fresh stations dotting the waterfront, the train hub, the park, and the local sports complex. The bike share service now offers a fleet of 66 bicycles ready for commuters, families, and tourists alike. By stitching together the western edge of the island with a green, flexible mode of travel, the expansion eases traffic, cuts emissions, and invites more people to explore the neighborhood on 2 wheels. Residents can hop off a train and pedal straight to a game or a stroll along the lake, while visitors discover the charm of Dorval without a car. It's another reminder that Montreal's pulse thrives when we move together sustainably. And later, we'll share the uplifting tale of Poppy's surprise street performance that lit up the neighborhood, keeping spirits high.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
In the heart of downtown on St. Catherine Street, the iconic facade of the former Montreal Forum stands bathed in the soft glow of early evening. Inside those historic walls, a team from Maxi is busy arranging fresh produce, the scent of ripe apples mingling with the faint echo of cheers that once filled the arena. Longtime fans watching from the street pause, their eyes tracing the familiar arches now home to aisles of vegetables, artisanal breads, and locally sourced cheeses. One vivid moment captures the spirit. A grandmother, clutching a tote bag, steps into the store and is greeted by a young employee who points out a display of maple-infused pastries, a nod to the city's sweet traditions. She smiles, remembering the games she attended as a child, and tells the clerk she feels the forum's legacy is still alive, now in the rhythm of daily life. The opening marks more than a new grocery destination. It weaves community, heritage, and convenience together, turning a beloved landmark into a place where neighbors meet, share recipes, and keep the pulse of Montreal beating. It's a reminder that the city's heart continues to grow, rooted in its past while feeding its future.
On Thursday night at Bell Center, arena buzzed with a mix of Toronto and New York supporters, their scarves fluttering as the crowd settled into the rhythm of a 2-game series far from home. At center court, Marina Mabrey turned the night into a celebration, slipping through the defense and sinking shot after shot until she tallied 30 points, each one sparking cheers that rippled through the packed seats. The game hung on a knife edge, the scoreboard flashing 93-91, a 2-point margin that felt like a heartbeat. When the final buzzer sounded, the Toronto tempo erupted, not just for the win but for breaking a 4-game slide that had weighed heavily on the team. In the stands, a group of local kids in miniature jerseys copied Mabrey's signature jump shot, their faces lit with the same determination they'd just witnessed. The moment reminded everyone that a single night of effort can rewrite a story, and that the energy of a community can lift a team beyond the scoreboard. Tonight, Bell Center reminded us that sport's greatest victories are shared, and that hope lives in every echo of applause.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunset. Tonight's look at the Montreal 1976 Olympic legacy reminded us how sport can shape a city for generations. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Stay safe, stay curious, and see you then.